Facility is Mike Leon, NTD News contributor and host of Can We Please Talk podcast. Also joining us is Tony Kinnett, national correspondent for the Daily Signal and host of Tony Kinnett Cast radio show and podcast. First of all, good afternoon, Tony. Good afternoon, Mike. Good to see you both. I'll start with you, Mike, today. The bill just passed the Senate, right? The pressure now is on House Republicans, but, several have said they don't support the version from the Senate. Do you expect Republicans to fall in line in the days to come?
Yes, that's pretty much it, Don. I mean, it's like we keep chasing. First of all, good to see you guys both. But we keep chasing these stories, and I've said this a bunch on this network. Like, we keep chasing who are going to be these no votes, and they always end up coming around. Lisa Murkowski is a perfect example of this. Now, yes, she was able to get some concessions for Alaska residents with respect to the bill, and Susan Collins kind of migrated over into the no column. But I don't know, out of the people that have been talked about right now on the congressional Republican side, obviously we already know Thomas Massie is a no. You can throw that vote away. But I'm trying to think of who else would be in this column that they're so firm and adamant right now from a media perspective, saying that they're going to be a no. And then when this bill comes forward, they're going to vote as a no. Those are two different things, Don. And one thing I will echo, though, is that when I talked to a couple of House folks recently on the show, we've had a few House Democrats on the program, some who have been very open. Obviously, they're going to vote along party lines. But one of the biggest things that they mentioned to me was we need to see what the version comes back from what the Senate sends us back. And I think there is obviously a difference in terms of the version that's going to be sent back to them right now than what they voted on back in mid-May on a very narrow margin of 215 to 214. So maybe somebody could be convinced on, but I haven't seen evidence otherwise with respect to all of this voting of somebody who's so hardline stance from the media perspective. And then all of a sudden, when they go to actually vote on it, they vote that same direction.
Okay, Tony, your thoughts. Will moderate and conservative House Republicans, who have concerns, right? Do they have to pause their ambitions to get the bill passed before the deadline?
Yes, they will. And I think Mike is right on the money here. We actually see this quite often with both parties. You have some individuals who either come forward in committee and inside caucus, like you see in the Democrat Party, or out in the open on loud social media posts, like Republicans often do. And they talk a really big game. But the unfortunate and perhaps the very fortunate part of how the House was built to function is that you're going to have Republicans from New York who have very different views than perhaps Republicans in my home state of Indiana might have. And that means you have to do a little bit of concessions. And that means that right now, given the state of the two parties in the Senate, I just spoke this morning with, for example, Representative from Texas 3rd, Keith Self, about some of the financial expenditures. He's not pleased with a lot of stuff in the bill, but he was able to get some concessions. A lot of Democrats were able to voice some concerns that pulled over a couple of Republican senators over on some things like providing funding for Planned Parenthood. That did not end up passing. But as far as Senator John Thune and now Representative and Speaker Mike Johnson, I think you're going to see this pass through. Whether or not it makes it by the 4th of July, I doubt it. I think there's going to be a little bit of arguing and a little bit of showboating that takes place first. But as is the Congress of the United States of America, and that's why Congress as a whole has such a low approval rating. It's a lot of political theater.
Okay, just a couple more points here before we talk about the alligator Alcatraz. Mike, what do you think of Musk's recent comments expressing his dissatisfaction on the bill? And you heard Trump say earlier, don't play this game with me.
Well, I mean, first off, the back and forth of that, I would prefer that both of these guys don't go back and forth with each other with respect to the media and the tweets. And obviously, I know some people will take what the president said as a threat to potentially deport Elon Musk. But look, at the end of the day, you got to look at what the core issue is for Elon Musk, right? And it's about potentially the environment and saving our planet and the industry that he works in, which helps with that with respect to electric vehicles. And the president addressed that in his True Social post saying, like, where I stood on this from the entire period of time on this EV mandate. I believe in electric vehicles, but I don't believe everybody should own electric vehicles, I think was what the tweet said. So, or the post on True Social, wherever it was. So the back and forth obviously is not helpful. It is funny and ironic for me, someone as me who has been covering this, who called this happening once upon a time, because you could see it. The writing was on the wall, right? This is what happens when, Elon Musk is not an elected official. He was a special government employee, right? He came in with a purpose and an intent, and he had a certain expiration date. And when that expiration date leaves, now he's back as a private citizen and the government continues to function. whether or not they carry forth his principles of Doge and continue to do that. They're doing some of that. Some of those things they've gotten rid of. So that's that. It always had a shelf life, Don, and the relationship had a shelf life. I mean, this is because he's not an elected official. He was not appointed to anything outside of this government of efficiency as a special government employee. So the writing was on the wall that this was always going to come to a head. And now Elon's using his platform, Twitter, to make the biggest gripes, and the president is countering back on his platform to make the gripes back.
Okay, Tony, any thoughts you have on this?
Again, I'm largely in agreement with Mike. This is something that actually our friendship was kind of hit off on, is that the tenuousness of these kind of special government situations. And I'll say this from the more right-leaning side of the aisle, I understand a lot of the gripes that Elon Musk has with the bill. I really don't like government spending myself. However, unfortunately, the Republicans and the Democrats in the vast constituency of the United States simultaneously wants low taxes and high government spending. Those two things don't mix. No matter how much one administration might say, oh, we can grow out of it, and the other one says, well, if we just have the right groups pay the fair share, then supposedly the billions will actually equal trillions and it'll be wonderful. No, it doesn't work like that. Unfortunately, the American people are going to have to come to austerity measures in the 2030s. That is going to be a major financial problem. And when we get to that point of a lot of finger pointing in Congress, because all of a sudden the gravy train will have come to an end on, for example, federal entitlement programs, and then there's no money left for subsidies of certain energies, whether they be oil and gas or solar and electric, because God forbid we build nuclear plants, then we're going to have, I don't know what, a moment of national, gee, I wish we had done something different. Hindsight's 2020. I mean, the unfortunate part is that when that happens, there will be some economic instability that won't be able to just be brushed off. And Congress has never really been forward thinking or pragmatic. It's one of the great blind spots of mankind in general.
Okay, now I want to have a conversation as well on the alligator Alcatraz. This ICE facility, Mike, what is the message